Good evening, guys. My name is Peter from Promega Leather, and tonight we're gonna be making this beautiful wristwatch cuff. You could call it a wristwatch, you could call it a strap or a cuff. You know, it doesn't matter. That's what we're gonna be doing tonight. You know, it is such a beautiful product. Beautiful because it makes a statement on your wrist. You know, whenever I put on this wristwatch cuff, and people will come to me and, oh, that is such a lovely piece. Oh, where did you get that? And I made it. Oh, you did? I was like, yeah, I made it. Wow, it is wonderful. It is wonderful. Do you have a website? Yeah, promegaleather.com. That is the place you want to visit if you want products that will make a statement, if you want products that will last you a lifetime. Promega Leather is the place for you. We stand behind all our products because we know what they are made of. We handcraft our products piece after piece, you know, with you in mind to make sure you have the best. You know, so without wasting too much of your time, I would like us to dive into the subject of the evening. So, in order to make this beautiful wristwatch cuff or wristwatch strap, you know, you will need a pattern. And in order to make that pattern, you will need measurement of your wrist. And so you will need a tape to do your measurement, and also you will need some basic tools, but we are not here to talk about tools today. As we go into the subject matter of this evening, I will be introducing the tools to you and tell you a little about them. So what I did is I put a painter's tape on my tape measure so it sticks on my wrist, and you want to start the measurement. You want to start the measurement of your wrist from the center point, underneath, from the center point. That's where you start, and you go all around to have the circumference. In my case, it is 8 inches. So that is the first step. Now, the second step, which is, guys, this is really important. The second step is to find the center where your wristwatch will actually rest. Where your wristwatch will actually rest. That is the second step, the second point. Now, you will think that since my measurement was 8 inches, the center point where my wristwatch will rest should be 4 inches. No. Yep, if you ask me why is that, I don't know. I am looking at the camera, and guys, and I am telling you, I don't know. When I designed this beautiful wristwatch strap or cuff, it didn't come out right. My very first attempt, it didn't come out right, and I was wondering, where did I go wrong? All my measurements were correct. Where did I go wrong? I don't know. And one beautiful afternoon, you know, something kept telling me, you know, redo redo the measurement. This time, do not find the center by simply dividing 8 by 2, but actually look when you do the measurement. Find the center by looking on the tape where, you know, and I did that. Oh, this tape is getting loose. When I did that, that is the measurement. It's 8 right there. It's 8. And when I try to find the center by looking at the tape, I realized it was 4.5. How is that? You know, till date, I don't know. And it means that this side of my wrist is wider than this side. I didn't know that. You know, from the center point to the 8 is 3.5 on this side, and on this other side is 4.5. That is a mystery. Till today, I don't know how that is. You know, I don't know. But that is what you have to take into consideration. That is the second point to making a right pattern. That is the second point. Okay, now, so the next point you have to do is to determine where that center is on your pattern. These are the simple guidelines that will help you. First, in my case, the circumference of my hand is 8 inches. Now, I don't want my wristwatch cuff to be too tight. I want it to be, you know, a perfect fit. Not too tight and not too loose. So in that case, I will give 1/4 of an inch to play. 1/4 of an inch. So I will say the circumference of my wrist is 8 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so the next point, I know that my wrist cuff will need snap buttons, closure buttons. And I have 2 snap buttons here. I will tell you why. It is because if you had only 1 snap button, there is the tendency for your cuff to wobble, to look either like this or to look like that. But if you have 2 snap buttons, it will keep everything in line. So you can either do it vertically or horizontally. It doesn't matter, you know. So, but this is the way I did mine. So, so I gave 1/2 of an inch to the 8 1/4 inch. I gave 1/2 of an inch. Or you might, it is okay if you give 2 inches. So call it 10 1/4 inch from the circumference of your hand, which is 8 inches. Because you don't want it too tight, you add an extra 1/4 of an inch, 8 1/4. Then you give an extra 2 inches for your snap buttons, so it will take it up to 10 1/4 of an inch. Okay, we have that in mind. 10 1/4 of an inch. Okay, the next step you have to do is to figure out how wide you want your cuff to be. You know, in my case, I love broad, you know, wide enough cuffs. So in my case, I made it 2 3/4 of an inch. Why? So once you know that you need 2 3/4 of an inch, for example, and you also need 10 1/4 of an inch length, so you go ahead and cut out your pattern. In my case, I already cut out the pattern. Bear in mind, what we are doing now is to find the center. That is what we are doing now, to find the center where your wristwatch will rest. So after cutting the pattern, what I did is I measured 1 1/4 of an inch and made a mark. Yeah, why I did 1 1/4 of an inch is because I want space for my snap buttons. I don't want them touching each other. So I did 1 1/4 of an inch. Just sufficient. Okay, so now from that point where you made that mark, you will measure 4 and 4.5. From that point, you will measure 4.5. And yeah, that is the actual measurement from the center, from underneath your arm to the center on top. 4 1/2 of an inch. So you will measure that. And when you have the 4 and 1/2, you make another point. Then you will start from the very first point, not the center. From the very first point on the other end, you will measure 8 1/4, because you don't want your wristwatch curve too tight. You want some allowance. So you measure 8 1/4 and you make another point there. Now we have been able to determine the center and also the 2 points, which is the actual size of our wrist. The actual size. You might want to think that 8 inches will be the actual size. No, if you do 8 inch, it will be too tight. It is even better to do 8 1/2, not even 8 1/4. You can do 8 1/2. But in my case, I did 8 1/4 because I don't want it wobbly too much. I want it a perfect fit, not too tight, not too loose. So I did 8 1/4. So those are the steps you must take into consideration if you want to make a wristwatch curve. So as far as embellishments are concerned, you can embellish it however you want it. However you want it. In my case, I use dome rivets. I use dome rivets, 2 sizes. I use the medium and the large. So that is that for making the pattern to that wristwatch, curve. So the next point you want to do is lay out your leather. And when you are choosing your leather, you have to do that with a lot of care. You don't want something that is too thin. You don't want something that is really too soft. It is good to work with stiff leather, something that has some body. Working with thick leather is good, but it should have some body. Like vegetan leather or Italian pattern leathers. You know, that is what I will be using tonight. You know, I will use this leather as my lining. That is, it will be inside, and I will use this crocodile embossed leather as my primary to go on top. So that is what we'll be doing right now. So I'm gonna put out my pattern on top of the leather and cut that out. This is the primary cut. I don't want to be precise with that cut. This is just to help me take out the leather. So I have the leather out. So what I have to do now is a precision cut. So to do that, I am using my rotary cutter. This is a circular blade, and so I can do the precision cut. I mean, you can use whatever knife or whatever blade that you want to. I prefer using the circular blade in making straight precision cuts. I can hear my wife. I can hear my wife grumbling that I am walking without music. I love music. Yeah. Okay. That is it. That is the first cut. That is the first piece, sorry. So what I would do on this piece is to mark out my center and also the point of my snap buttons. So I'll mark out my center, then I'll mark out the points for my snap buttons. Also the points for my rivets, for my embellishment. That didn't come out well, so I will use my diamond edge. I'll let me use a pen. You know, anything that you will want, anything that will actually make your marks visible enough is just fine. You know, you can use a pen, you can use a pencil, depending on the leather, anything that you want to use is just fine. At least I can see those marks. So what I will do is go off camera and punch the holes. Alright guys, I am just done with punching the holes, and this is how it looks. As you can see, I have one little tiny hole here that is actually telling me where the center of where my wristwatch will rest, and also I have 2 holes up here for the snaps, and also 3 holes on either side, up this way and down this way for my embellishments. Okay, so now the next step will be to attach the secondary to the primary fabric. And to do that, some craftsmen and